Today's message is about victory. It is how to live and overcome his life. You see, life should be a joy, not a burden. We should live victoriously, ever master of our experiences, and not tossed by them like a leaf on the dashing waves. Every earnest Christian wants to live a truly beautiful life, whatever the circumstances may be. Each one of us is to live just as Jesus would, if he were living our little life in the midst of its actual environment, standing all day just where we stand, mingling with the same people with whom we must mingle, and exposed to the very annoyances, trials, and provocations to which we are exposed. We want to live a life that will please God and that will bear witness on its face to the genuineness of our faithfulness. But how can we do this? We must first recognize the fact that our life must be lived just in its own circumstances. We cannot at present change our surroundings. Whatever we are to make of our lives must be made in the midst of our actual experiences. Here we must either win our victories or suffer our defeats. We may think our lot is especially hard and may wish it was otherwise. We may wish that we had a life of ease and luxury and softer scenes, with no briars or thorns, no worries or provocations. Then we would always be gentle, patient, serene, trustful, and happy. How delightful it would be never to have a care, an irritation, a cross, a single difficult thing. But meanwhile, this fact remains, that our aspiration cannot be realized, and that whatever our life is to be made, beautiful or marred, we must make it just where we are. No restless discontent can change our lot. We cannot get into any paradise merely by longing for it. Other people may have other circumstances possibly more pleasant than ours, but here are ours. We may as well settle this point at once and accept the battle of life on this field, or else, while we are vainly wishing for a better chance, the opportunity for victory shall have passed. The next thought is that the place in which we find ourselves is the place in which the Master desires us to live our life. See, there is no hit and miss in this world. God leads every one of his children by the right way. He knows where and under what influences each particular life will ripen best. One tree grows best in the sheltered valley, while another by the water's edge. Another on the bleak mountaintops swept by storms. There is always adaptation in nature. Every tree or plant is found in the locality where the conditions of its growth exist. And does God give more thought to trees and plants than to his own children? He places us amid the circumstances and experiences in which our life will grow and ripen the best. The peculiar discipline to which we are each subjected is the discipline we each need to bring out in us the beauties and graces of true spiritual character. We are in the right school. We may think that we would ripen more quickly in a more easy and luxurious life, but God knows what is best. He makes no mistakes. There's a little fable which says that a primrose growing by itself in a shady corner of the garden became discontented as it saw the other flowers in their mirthful beds in the sunshine and begged to be moved to a more conspicuous place. His prayer was granted. The gardener transplanted it to a more showy and sunny spot. He was greatly pleased, but there came a change over it immediately. Its blossoms lost much of their beauty and became pale and sickly. The hot sun caused them to faint and wither. So it prayed again to be taken back to its old place in the shade. The wise gardener knows best where to plant each flower, and so God, the divine gardener, knows where his people will best grow into what he would have them to be. Some require the fierce storms. Some will only thrive spiritually in the shadow of worldly adversity, and some to the ripeness more sweetly under the soft and gentle influences of prosperity, whose beauty rough experiences would mar. He knows what is best for each one. The next thought is that it is possible to live a beautiful life anywhere. There is no position in this world in the allotment of fate in which it is not possible to be a true Christian, exemplifying all the virtues of Christianity. The grace of Christ has in it potency enough to enable us to live godly wherever we are called to dwell. You see, when God chooses a home for us, he fits us for his peculiar trials. There is a beautiful law of adaptation that runs through all God's providence. Animals made to dwell among the Arctic snows are covered with warm furs. That is no accident. The camel's home is in the desert, and a wondrous provision is made by which it can endure long journeys across the hot sands without drink. Birds are fitted for their flights in the air. Animals made to live among the mountain crags have feet prepared for climbing over the steep rocks. In all nature, the law of special equipment and preparation for allotted places prevails. And the same is true in spiritual life. You see, God adopts His grace to the peculiarities of each one's necessity. For rough, unbending paths, He provides shoes of iron. He never sends anyone to climb sharp, rugged mountainsides wearing silken slippers. He always gives sufficient grace. As the burden grows heavier, the strength increases. As the difficulties thicken, the angel draws closer. As the trials become sorer, the trusting heart grows calmer. Jesus always sees His disciples when they are toiling in the waves and at the right moment comes to deliver them. Thus it becomes possible to live a true and victorious life in any circumstance. Christ can as easily enable Joseph to remain pure and true in heathen Egypt as Benjamin in the shelter of his father's love. The sharper the temptations, the more of the divine grace is granted. There is, therefore, no environment of trial or difficulty or even hardship in which we cannot live beautiful lives of Christian fidelity and holy conduct. Instead, then, of yielding to discouragement when trials multiply and it becomes hard to live right, or being satisfied with a broken peace and a very faulty life, it should be a settled purpose for each one of us to live through the grace of God a patient, gentle, and unspotted life in the place among the circumstances that He allotted for us. You see, the true victory is not found in escaping or evading the trials, but in rightly meeting and enduring them. Questions should not be, how can I get out of these worries? How can I get into a place where there shall be no irritations, nothing to try my temper or put my patience to the test? How can I avoid the distractions that continually harass me? There is nothing noble in such living. The soldier who flies to the rear when he smells the battle is no hero. He is a coward. The question should rather be, how can I pass through these trying experiences and not fail as a Christian? How can I endure these struggles and not suffer defeat? How can I live amongst these provocations, these reproaches, and settings of my temper, and yet live sweetly, not speaking unadvisedly, bearing injuries meekly, and returning gentle answers to insulting words? This is the true problem of Christian living. We are at school here. This life is disciplinary. Processes are not important. It is results we want. You see, every obstacle to true living should then only nerve us with fresh determination to succeed. We should use each difficulty and hardship as a leverage to gain some new advantage. We should compel our temptations to minister to us instead of hindering us. We should regard all our provocations, annoyances, and trials of whatever sort as practice lessons in the application of the theories of Christian life. It'll be seen in the end that the hardships and difficulties are by no means the smallest blessings of our lives. Someone compares them to the weights of a clock, without which there would be no steady, orderly life. The tree that grows where nature tosses its leaves and bends its trunk, often almost to breaking, is more firmly rooted than the tree which grows in the manicured valley where no storm ever brings stress or strain. The same is true in life. The grandest character is grown in hardship. Weakness of character springs out of luxury. The best men in the world ever reared have been brought up in the school of adversity and hardship. Besides, it's no heroism to live patiently where there is no provocation, bravely where there is no danger, calmly when there is nothing to perturb. Not the hermit's cave, but the heart of the busy life tests as well as makes character. If we can live patiently, lovingly, and cheerfully among all the frets and irritations day after day, year after year, that is grander heroism than the farthest famed military exploits, or he who rules his own spirit is better than he who captures a city. That is a allotted task. It is no easy one. It can be accomplished only by the most resolute decision, with unwavering purpose and continual watchfulness. Nor can it be accomplished without the continual help of Christ. Each one's battle must be a personal one. We may decline that struggle, but it will be declining also the joy of victory. No one can reach the top without climbing the steep mountain path. Each must win his way through struggles and efforts to all noble attainments. The help of God is given only in cooperation with human aspiration and energy. While God works in us, we are to work out our own salvation. He who overcomes shall be a pillar in the temple of God. We should accept the task with quiet joy. We shall fail many times. Many a night we shall retire to weep at Christ's feet over the day's defeat. In our efforts to follow the copy set for us by our Lord, we shall write many a crooked line and leave many a blotted page blistered with tears of regret. Yet we must keep through all a brave heart, an unfaltering purpose, and a calm, joyful confidence in God. Temporary defeat should only cause us to lean on Christ more fully, God is on the side of everyone who is loyally struggling to obey His divine will and to grow Christ-like, and that means assured victory to everyone whose heart fails not.